story and then finish off with a joke. It's like, oh, everybody's happy, you know, like, everything's fine, right? Inverse functions. We'll start off, and the only thing we're really going to focus on is finding an inverse tonight. When you're finding an inverse, you're really just finding, or you're following, I should say, these steps. All right. But the definition of an inverse function is a reflection over the line y equals x, where the result also passes the vertical line test. All right. So you start off with a function. You follow these steps. This helps you figure out, this gives the reflection over the line y equals x. If you follow these steps, I can't make my squiggly brackets anymore. That's how you know the evening's getting too late. All right. This gives the reflection over y equals x. So you don't have to worry about that geometry concept that's being taken care of for you by following this process. All right. Then the only thing you have to do is check your final answer, your final equation, and make sure it passes the vertical line test, guaranteeing that it's a function. Because there's a difference between inverses and inverse functions. We're concerned with inverse functions. All right. So in number one, oh, and actually, I'll take these as typos. It should be find the inverse function. All right. Small detail, but important. All right. So what we would do is write the equation in terms of x and y. Well, in the first one, it's already done. I'll rewrite it again just so I can satisfy the need to follow every single step. Then switch the x with the y. Right? And so that's literally switching the x with the y. So take the x out, take the y out, and change their position within the equation. All right. The last part is algebra. All right. It varies. The difficulty level varies depending on the problem. All right. So if I want to solve for y, I would use any kind of property of equality that I might have learned along the way, like adding to both sides, multiplying to both sides, dividing, and so on, maybe taking a power to both sides or root both sides. But in this case, it's pretty simple. All we're doing is adding an 8. So we get 4y is equal to x plus 8. And then I divide both sides by 4. And so divide by 4. You could simplify or not, it's up to you. You know, we do have to do some algebra in this class, but again, it's not an algebra class. So I'm not looking for, you know, unnecessary steps just for the sake of forcing you to do more algebra. So if you want to leave it like that, or if you want to make it 1 over 4 x plus 2, that's fine too. Right? But the more important thing is that you verify that this is a function. Right? So y equals fraction x plus 8 over 4. All right. This would pass the vertical line test because if I drew a vertical line anywhere along this graph, it would never intersect more than once. It would only intersect the one time. So no matter where I put that vertical line, it's never going to intersect more than once. All right. So this is a function. So we would denote it with a little inverse symbol. Inverse symbol is for whatever reason, it's a power of -1. All right, so we'd say y with a little symbol, power of -1, which can be confusing because it also means that's it's notation that also means the reciprocal of y. So that's frustrating. For some people, they like to include a little of x just to make it a little clearer that this is notation rather than an operation. It's never a bad idea. All right, it is a function of x. So you could do that too, or you could leave it without the x also. All right. So for the second one, and this is the last one we'll do for tonight, we first write it as y equals instead of f of x equals. Switch the x with the y. Then solve for y. So then it's algebra after that. So x plus 2 is equal to 5y. Divide out the 5. Verify that this equation is in fact a function. All right, so we would just pop it back into Desmos, x plus 2 over 5. I mean, if you're using a slider, slide your slider. If not, just visualize and make sure a vertical line would only intersect once. And then the notation for this, because we started off with an f of x, we would use, instead of saying y, we would say f -1 of x is equal to x plus 2 over 5. All right. That's also saying inverse function. All right.